What's going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about scouting. It's finally been revealed. A release date has finally been announced. We have some exclusives for you here as well, so I think that's going to be really awesome for the video. But it's going to be mid-October. Some things to get out of the way. I don't like waiting either. I don't like it. Don't like waiting. I want things now. A lot of us are like that. It just is what it is. Here's the thing. Can't make excuses for EA or Madden or anything like that. We all would have wanted this at launch, but I would really like to look at things on the bright side if we can, which is it's better than not having it the entire year. That's just where I am. Would I have liked it at launch? Absolutely. Am I upset that it isn't in-game at launch? Absolutely. Do I wish I had it through any moment in September like was initially targeted? Absolutely. Just not the case. So it sucks, but there is finally a launch date for the title update that includes scouting. Finally. I'm excited for that. So yeah, obviously mid-October, it sucks to wait. I'm not gonna lie, but it's gonna include a full scouting department, in-depth scouting reports including physical traits, ratings, news content that will move players up or down the media big board, impacting draft stock, and then mock drafts providing a snapshot of who teams are interested in throughout the season. All awesome things being added. Like, I've been asking for some of these things for years, like bringing a mock draft back to make the players feel real. Like, if you guys watch my Lions franchise series, I really try and make those draft prospects feel real, because at least to me over the past several years, the draft is more exciting than the Super Bowl. Like, obviously that's what you play for, but as a Giants fan, my team, hasn't really been in the conversation the past decade. I know they won in 2011, but, since then, it's been pretty rough. So I always look forward to the draft. I love watching college football. I love seeing these college players make the transition into the NFL. I love, the speculation leading up to the draft of, okay, is my team going to get this player? Is this player going to go to this team? Is this a really good fit for this player on offense or defense schematically? So making the draft feel real, I think, should have been the biggest focus for Madden over the past 5 or 6, 7 years in franchise. And finally, we are getting things to make the experience feel more immersive. So I think that's phenomenal. It is about time. I really can't stress that enough. I've been pushing for these things, and it's good to see these things. I mean, not that I'm the only one, clearly, but a lot of us really, really wanted a lot of these features. So I'm glad that they are finally being added. So the scouting experience will begin during week 1 of the NFL season, where you'll be introduced to the current draft class for the first time. You'll view the national region of the region breakdown, and the map surfaces the identity of the current draft class. Being able to see the overall positional strength and weaknesses of the draft class, as well as on a per region basis, it allows you to plan your approach. You'll be able to hire, fire, or reassign your scouts to make sure their strengths align with the region that you're scouting. For example, if one of the strengths of the Southeast region is corners, make sure you assign the scout that has the corner expertise to get the most benefit. You're in charge of optimizing your 5 scouts to help you find draft gems. Here's the timeline. Week 1, it's the last time to reassign, hire, and fire scouts. Week 2, you get to assign region scouts to individual positions. Week 8, so the midseason mark basically, you'll assign a national scout to individual positions. Week 11, you'll choose 3 players to focus on, and you'll get 30% of a player's profile. It adds up to 100% over time if you get the player fully scouted. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. And then in free agency stage 3, which is, I believe, 2 weeks before the draft, you'll choose 3 players to host for private workouts, and you'll get 40% of a player's profile. Now, I'm going to assume that stacks. So I think it's safe to assume that if you want to, you can unlock 70% of a player's profile doing those 2 things. And then you can see that each prospect has a key percentage along the way. 1%, you get baseline information for prospects. That's going to be name, it's going to be height, weight, that sort of thing. 10%, player notes including traits, throw style. So traits is like for a quarterback, tight spiral, or for a defensive lineman, high motor, bull rush, spin move, swim move, something like that. every 10%, you get one attribute revealed on the skill tab as a letter grade. So what that means, man coverage could be an A, could be a C if you're a corner or safety or something like that. At 70%, the player archetype is revealed. So if you're a quarterback, we know there's scrambler, improviser, field general, strong arm. I believe those are the 4. So you'll get to know what that is. And that can tell you a lot about a player, because field general, maybe you know they have the most throwing accuracy if they're a quarterback. Improviser, they have a really high throw on the run. They might be faster. They might be really good under pressure. Strong arm, might just have a cannon of an arm. And then scrambler, you know, they're pretty fast, pretty agile, pretty elusive, that sort of thing. And then fully at 100%, you get all player attributes and true talent range revealed. So if you know the true talent range of current players, or with current scouting, you can see the range for them. Like you'll see high or early first round pick. That's number 1 to number 9 in the class. Mid first round pick, number 10 to I believe number 23 or something close. In my head, it makes sense that it would be 20. I want to say it's like 23 though. And then late first round pick is either like 20 or 23 to 32. And that kind of scales throughout the rounds. So I think it's a little bit different in this, as we'll get to it in the new scouting, which I think is cool. But it is nice that once you fully go into scouting a player 100%, you get to know, you know, the range of how good they actually are within the class. So you're not going to know that for every player, but you will know it for a few, which I think is nice. And we can see this screenshot here, and we can see things we've seen before. There are new things in here, I promise you, but national, west, central, northeast, southeast, the different regions. And then you can see your national region. That's your national scout, Kenny Ramsey. And his position expertise is quarterback. He's a tier 3 guy. He gets a 10% efficiency boost when you scout quarterback. You can see the top prospects and the strengths and weaknesses of the draft class, or strengths and weaknesses of that particular scout within the draft class. But of that scout, I believe. We then see our scout from the southeast region. This is the Lions, by the way. Makes sense for my franchise, which if you're a big avid watcher of Lions franchise, it's so crazy that there are over 100,000 of you guys that watch that series religiously. I cannot thank you enough. But it's nice to have the immersion of actually the Detroit Lions in here, you know, because I'm Lions franchise. I will say I will be restarting that. I've mentioned that before, but I'm restarting. However, it's not starting from scratch. I'm just going to add players that we drafted and picked up in free agency, and I'm going to make sure everything's the same about them. So same development traits, same attributes, that sort of thing. But for those who are here for the scouting update purely, I respect that. It's very interesting that we see an area scout as Rodney Harrison. I don't know if you guys know Rodney Harrison. Safety for the Chargers, and many of you probably remember him most with the Patriots, was on that big play with David Tyree in the Super Bowl, played amazing coverage, and David Tyree made the helmet catch anyway. Former safety, and his positions of expertise, shockingly, are free safety and strong safety. So having former players as area scouts not only is realistic, that's very, very cool, very immersive, and you can see him for that particular region. And now mock drafts. This is, again, something I've been asking for a super long time. You can see where these players fall in the actual draft, or where they're projected to based on the media perception. There are going to be 5 mock drafts along the course of the year, and you can see each of these guys with the projected team that picks them, logo behind them. This is not what is actually going to happen, or actually did happen. It's what is expected to happen. You can see their current projection. We don't know their talent yet because they're not fully scouted. We can see the scouting completion percentage on them. Most of these players are at 10%. Jeff Shaw is at 14%. So we're going to know slightly more about Jeff Shaw than these other players. However, it's indistinguishable at this point. It's very early in the scouting process, clearly. We are only at the first mock draft, and these will change over the course of the year. And you can see, based on media perception, which is not always going to be 100% accurate to where they actually go in the draft. So if you want a player and it says projected to go at 14, you might have to take him at 8. If you have a player that's projected to go, you know, at number 15, maybe he's there at number 30. These things happen. It makes it a whole lot more interesting, in my opinion. look at Cade Atkins here as a quarterback, and we see an actual scouting report. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Never seen a window he won't throw into. So that can be a positive and a negative. That probably will indicate that Cade Atkins is a gunslinger type player. And Cade Atkins is going to be throwing the ball into traffic consistently. So that's maybe, you know, someone who's not incredibly disciplined. But he's got a tight spiral. These might reveal traits. So he might have, you know, not ideal throw-making decisions. But he does throw a tight spiral. Quick to throw at the slightest pressure. That would be paranoid under pressure. These are traits in the game. So the scouting report, I think it's safe to assume, are going to be just basically telling you what their traits are. Knows when to throw the ball away. That's throw the ball away, ideal. These are different things that are actually in Madden if you see their traits. Exclusively plays from the pocket, so we know he's going to be probably a slower player. He's a pocket style QB, again, another trait. And then fast, violent, over-the-top throwing motion. It's interesting that that's described as violent. But, yeah, again, we can know a little bit more about his throwing, and that's probably going to be a specific release that gets that note. So it might be like balanced QB 3 release or whatever. But, yeah, we can see height, weight. We don't know the archetype just yet. That's going to be revealed later. We don't know the key ratings just yet, but we do see the top fits. Now that might be 3 teams that are in need of a quarterback. I'm not sure how much that's going to be like factored into where they actually pick in the draft, because to me those 3 teams look like there could be a decent variance in where they would actually pick in the draft. Like maybe Washington football team could be a little bit higher up, and the Bucs would be a little bit on the back end of the first round. You know, you don't know. But it's interesting to think about. We also see new, more consistent news stories. So there are 5 in here we can talk about. The first one, starting from the bottom, being the Wake Forest LE booted from the program. So a defensive end from Wake Forest kicked out of the program. That's already major news, not a good thing. So what that actually means for his development trait or overall remains to be seen. What I would guess is that it probably wouldn't impact overall, because there are good players that can be kicked out of programs. It happens more consistently than you'd realize. Like Cam Newton, for example, started at Florida, right? Kicked out of Florida, ended up going to Blinn College in Texas, just near Texas A&M and College Station, and then ended up transferring, of course, to Auburn, won the national championship, won the Heisman, won at number 1 overall in the draft. But it might mean that their development trait is not that good, because they could be very troubled if they're getting kicked out of a program. We also see Kentucky Jermaine Armstrong out for the season. So Wake Forest left end, we're going to have to probably look in the draft class at who that actually is. We'll have to track that down and see who they are. But here it actually gives us a name, and we'll have to find their position. But we know the school. I'm not sure how much easier it is going to be to find these guys. It still might be difficult. Like, you wish that there's more information there. However, based on seeing the top story, there's not only the headline, but there's under text as well. So we might be able to see their position and more information about them, like small school star making big waves. We might have like a Dwayne Eskridge, who went to Western Michigan. Not exactly the biggest school in the world, but was a pretty good player. Ended up going to the Seahawks, I believe, in the 2nd round. Or was he the top of the 3rd round guy? He might have been a 3rd round guy. Might have been a 3rd round guy, 2nd or 3rd round. But yeah, it might say something like that. Give you a small school and then say, hey, they're playing pretty well, and might give you their position and name as well, of course. We have Callaway ready to write own legacy. And then the big story at the top is Nash finally gets shot at QB1. Zach Nash's wait for the starting job is over as he finally takes the reins as quarterback of the UCF offense. Cool stuff. It helps the guys feel more real. We don't know what that would do for impacting development trait or overall, but it does give you backstory on the players, which I think is important. And then we can see Zach Nash here, and we can see his acceleration and all these different attributes and where they are projected to be. And it gives you a range. It doesn't give you exactly how good they are, but it gives you a range. So we can see his acceleration is great to elite. Elite probably is at the very top, by the way. We see his agility, great to elite. Change of direction, great to elite. Jumping, great to elite. We know he's a really, really solid athlete. Speed is good to great. Strength is solid to good. And throw power is solid to good. So we know he's probably a bit more of an athlete, more of a scrambler than a real passer in terms of what his throw power does. And we don't know how he tested because we don't know his combine. We don't know what he did at the pro day. Now, historically, at the combine, guys will test and they'll run what they actually run. Like in terms of the 40 or 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, that type of thing, guys are going to test where they actually test. At the pro day, all those numbers are going to be slightly inflated because it's hand timed. They don't have the actual electronic measuring. It's hand times, and even if they do have it, set up with a camera or something like that, it's not as accurate as the combine time. So you're going to see a little bit of inflated times, but that's not going to change where they are in the class because those can be, for everybody. Also, I think it's worth noting that maybe if a player skips the combine, they still might participate in a pro day. That happens pretty frequently, so I'd be shocked if that were not the case. And we'll see the prospects here. This is your draft board. You can reorder this, of course. You can favorite it. You see that little heart. That's when you have somebody on your draft board. And you can see the change based on, the past time you updated the draft board or with the mock draft or whatever. You can see a guy like Zach Nash is up 11 spots. Cade Atkins is up 2, while a guy like Jermaine Armstrong from Kentucky, we know he's a corner now, dropped 3 spots. We can still see the projection. Clayton Sherry is top 5. Zach Nash is rounds 1, 2, 2. Don't exactly know that range. Could be back end of the first round, could be mid-first, could be back end of the second. Anywhere through there. And we'll see Cade Atkins again. We're sticking with him, the quarterback. We can actually see letter grades on his skills finally. And we basically knew what type of player this guy was already. But we can see that his throw under pressure, awareness, throw accuracy, mid, all very, very good. Deep, short are formidable, although not amazing, albeit. B trucking as well, pretty rare for a quarterback. But we see that he is 100% scouted. So he is a round 1 projected player, and his talent is actually round 1 as well. So he might be a player you look to take in the first round because he is a true round 1 talent. But it doesn't give you, top 5 in the draft, top 10 in the draft for Cade Atkins specifically. We see for Kevin Ruiz, though, his projection is round 1, another quarterback here. And he does have good throw accuracy, deep throw accuracy, mid, and throw accuracy short. We can see that throw on the run is not great. Break sacks high. Trucking's pretty high. How many guys have B trucking? Where's throw power on here? Feel like you'd see throw power, but maybe for that you'd have to see the scouting report to know about what type of an arm he has. Because I don't see it on here, which seems like something you'd want to know about a quarterback. Call me crazy. But he, at least according to the true talent, is not actually a round 1 talent. He's really a round 3 to 4 guy. But with his throw accuracy deep and throw accuracy mid being such, significantly better, I would say, than Cade Atkins, getting the A bumped from a B, it's really got to come down to the awareness rating that brings his overall down compared to Cade Atkins, which is interesting. Another quarterback here. We can see the throw power is in the physicals for a quarterback. That's interesting, but I guess that makes sense. We can see his acceleration is confirmed elite. It's not a range, it's confirmed, and he's 90% scouted. Agility, great. Change of direction, great. Jumping, elite. Speed, great. Solid strength and good throw power. This is a freak athlete type player. We can see that great speed is 4.59, so it isn't quite the elite range that you might see from a 4.4 guy, but 4.59 for a QB is pretty fantastic. We can see where he ranks in the class, and he hasn't done his pro day yet. So we can see he's the 3rd QB with a 4.59 40, 4th for 14 reps of 225 at the combine. You can see his 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, and where these rank in terms of relation to the rest of the class. We can see our top team needs as well. And we can also see that we don't get the true talent until 100% scouted. At 90%, you don't quite know yet. Bradley Cherry is a corner. We can see that he has elite speed, that's 4.34, best in the class. Elite acceleration, so he's going to get up to that top speed pretty quickly. Change of direction, though, is just solid. So, like, he's decent, not the most agile player in the world, but pretty good. Also, I mean, great strength as well. You can see that strength is literally great, but 21 reps for a corner is pretty wild. So we just have another really, really good athlete. And then we'll look at Cade Atkins as well. We can see that once you draft him, you still get that hidden development trait. But now their actual athletic ratings are revealed. So this is pretty neat. See the team logo. So this is when you draft the player. I guess you don't get the player to pop up anymore. You just get this screen. I thought it was cool to have the player pop up. I wonder if this is the actual draft screen or if this is just... I mean, it has to be, right? It has to be after you drafted the player. Maybe this isn't during the draft, but actually after you click them. That'll be interesting to find out. And we see Bradley Cherry, same type of deal. You can see their athletic ratings, but nothing yet in this main screen. We can see the hidden development trait as well. A left-handed corner, that's interesting. Don't see a lot of lefties in general. Not that lefty corner would be like weird, just like, you know, unusual to see lefties in general. But we can see Bradley Cherry, you know, height, weight, and then all the athletic ratings revealed, and not via a letter grade, but once you draft them, you can see like the actual number grade. But that is going to do it for the breakdown of the scouting coming in mid-October. Again, I don't want to wait either, but we're waiting. So that's where we are. Hopefully it'll be really good when it drops. It looks extremely promising, so should be good. But I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
Insane, I hit it at the park, bend bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah, promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn, taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud. Speed burst good.